Thanks so much, Jay. Good morning. My name is Nikki Willard, and I welcome one and all to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Huntington's virtual Sunday service. I'd like to extend a special welcome today to visitors who may be joining our virtual service for the first time, as well as any newcomers who are returning. If you are new to our congregation and want to speak with someone to learn more about us, please contact our office administrator, Lauren Knoll, at office@uufh.org. If you have a pastoral matter, you can contact our minister, Reverend Jude Geiger, at minister@uufh.org. I'd like to give a special shout out to our guests joining us from the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Syracuse. We welcome you all today. Please know that whoever you are, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. I extend an invitation to all of you, including those who are new or visiting, to join our virtual fellowship coffee hour after the service at 11:30. I will post the Zoom link for this a couple of times during our service in the chat area. It is also posted on our Facebook page, in the Stay Connected section of our website, and in this week's flash newsletter. Please grab a cup of coffee after the service and join in at 11:30. We are streaming live from multiple locations, which usually works well, but can be technologically challenging, so please be patient if we have any mishaps. I do have a couple of announcements this morning. Save the date. Next Sunday, November 22nd at 7 p.m., the Huntington Community Thanksgiving service will be held virtually via Zoom. Gather together from the comfort of your home and enjoy the service, which will include recorded music, prayers from all our faith traditions, and video testimonies of gratitude. You can find the link to the service in this week's and next week's flash in the news and announcements section of our website and on our Facebook page. Happy Diwali! This Indian Festival of Lights began yesterday, November 14th. Diwali usually lasts 5 days and is celebrated during the Hindu lunisolar month of Kartika. One of the most popular festivals of Hinduism, it symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. Diwali is also frequently celebrated by Sikhs and Jains and other people from the Indian subcontinent and North America as both a religious and secular holiday. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, Diwali is a reminder and an opportunity to be the change you want to see in the world. Our guest speaker this morning, Everette R.H. Thompson, is the second in a series of 11 guest speakers slated during this fellowship year to speak about or on topics related to the eighth principle that many Unitarian Universalist congregations are studying at this time. The Black Lives of UU Organizing Collective has urged all UU congregations to consider and adopt the eighth principle, which reads as follows. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote, journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. We will be exploring the elements of this proposed principle throughout this worship year during Sunday services, in small group workshops, and in reading groups in order to gain a better understanding of it so that we can vote on it as a congregation in 2021. I would like to extend a hearty welcome to our eighth principle guest speaker this morning, Everette R.H. Thompson. Everette is the Side with Love's campaign manager and brings 15 plus years of experience to the craft of organizing. A Southerner by birth and choice, he has dedicated his career to building power to strengthen people of faith and organizational infrastructure in the South for Black liberation. His greatest joy is his son and his sunshine, Elijah. Everette will also be joining us in our virtual coffee hour after the service for a little bit. For a better understanding of what Side with Love is all about, we'd like to show a brief video.
Side with Love was born in tragedy. It was born after the shooting in Knoxville. A white supremacist went into our church.
10 years ago, a shooting happened at my church, Tennessee Valley U Church, that claimed the lives of two people that I love a lot and two people that I care about that mentored me tackle the shooter.
To side with love means that we say our hearts are big enough and strong enough that they can break, and yet our spirits will not break.
I think we're at a critical moment of recognizing the difference between liberal and liberation. Being a religious liberal or a liberal, it's comfortable, it's kind of playing the game from the sidelines, and it's not what the world is calling us to do right now, and that liberation has to be embodied.
We look at Side with Love as an embodiment of our faith, as an embodiment of who we are, and how we are really willing to protect it with our call to justice and with putting our bodies and selves on the line.
And at Phoenix, I'll never forget, it was twilight, we were busing in, and then we got outside the prisons, and people were singing. And so we were singing so loud, trying to get through the bars. Like, I'm not giving up on you.
Yesterday's action here in Spokane, it was another moment to be with a sea of UUs. This is resistance. We will continue to resist, and together we side with love.
We as Unitarian Universalists, and we in every congregation, has to sit and rest with what are we doing to cause the harm in our communities and how we can really hold in community care.
With the hateful rhetoric and the cruelty of the policies and the rollbacks for transgender folks, for prisons and mass incarceration, and seeing the anti-immigration stuff get so much worse. Sometimes it looks so much like the hate and cruelty is winning that you just want to shut down, and if I have privilege, I want to go hide in it. But love over and over calls us out.
Let us take all that we have in our hearts. But wherever we go, we have an opportunity, an invitation to actually choose to side with love. Love in its essence is for us to actually disrupt when we see injustice. Love in its essence is showing up and showing out every chance that you get. May it be so.
I now invite you to settle into your bodies and quiet your minds as we breathe deep together and settle into our time of worship. Please join me in saying our mission statement. The words are on the screen. In religious community, we nurture our individual spirits through caring for one another and helping to heal the world. Please join me now in singing our affirmation. And now, I'd like to welcome the Bewley-Newmar family. They will light our chalice for us this morning. As I read these words, The Promise and the Practice by Rebecca Savage. We light our flaming chalice as a beloved people united in love and thirsting for restorative justice. May it melt away the tethers that uphold whiteness in our midst. May it spark in us a spirit of humility. May it ignite in us radical love that transforms our energy into purposeful action. This chalice of audacious hope, this chalice shines a light on our shared past, signaling our intention to listen deeply, reflect wisely, and move boldly toward our highest ideals.
Hi, good morning. This is a story by Erica Hewitt called We Are the Shepherds. So Jesus was a teacher long ago of love and compassion. When Jesus spoke to his followers, it was often about how to share more, love more, and forgive more. Jesus also talked a lot about the great unfolding mystery named love. He called it God, the way many other people do. Sometimes Jesus' followers needed to help to understand his teachings, so he told stories to help them understand. We call those stories parables. This is one of the parables that Jesus told his followers. It's about a shepherd. A shepherd is someone who cares for sheep, who makes sure their bellies are full and they're safe from predators, because a lot of critters would hurt sheep if they could. See, in the days when Jesus told this story, a shepherd wouldn't have had a fancy pen or a corral for her sheep. There was no fence to create a big space for a flock. Instead, she would have to take her sheep out into the hills to fill their bellies. In this parable, the shepherd didn't have just 1 or 4 or 10 sheep. She had 100 sheep. Wow, can you imagine 100 sheep? At the beginning of each day, the shepherd took all 100 sheep to the hills of green grass and counted to make sure they were all there. At the end of the day, she brought them home again, counting to make sure that all 100 sheep had come home. The shepherd came home one night. She counted the sheep and saw only 99 instead of 100. Well, she counted again to make sure, and then again. And even though it was cold and dark and there was critters in the hills that might hurt a shepherd, she loved the 99 sheep who were safe at home and went out to find the lost sheep who was in danger. Well, when Jesus told this parable to his followers, he was trying to tell them 2 things. First, that the great unfolding mystery that we call love, and that some call God, loves each of us so much that love will always, always go to those who are left behind or in danger. Second, we understand ourselves to be a part of the great unfolding mystery called love. Most of us who are Unitarian Universalists want to be like that great unfolding mystery. We want to be love's partner and his helper. That means we are the shepherd. And when everyone else is safe, we're called to notice the few who are in danger and to go out into the cold and out into the dark and be with them. See, love doesn't rest and wait. Love in the form of the shepherd leaves comfort behind to be a helper. May it be so.
And our first reading for this morning is My Heart is Moved by All I Cannot Save by Adrienne Rich. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. Please join me in singing Spirit of Life, accompanied on the piano by Jay. The words will be on the screen. After Spirit of Life, there will be a time of silence, followed by a musical video.
don't know how my mother walked her trouble down. I don't know how my father, how he stood his ground. Don't know how my people survived slavery. I do remember that's why I believe. I don't know why the rivers overflow their banks. Don't know why the snow falls and covers the ground. I don't know why the hurricane sweeps through the land every now and then. Standing in a rainstorm, I believe. Head up, lid, head up, my leg. Head up, lid, head up, me. Head up, lid, head up, my leg. Head up, lid, head up, me. I don't know why the angels woke me up this morning soon. I don't know why the blood still runs through my veins. I don't know how I prayed to run another day. Hey, but I am here still running. I believe. Oh, head up, lid, head up, my leg. Head up, lid, head up, me. Head up, lid, head up, my leg. Head up, lid, head up, me. God calls to me in the morning dew. The power of the universe knows my name. He gave me a song to sing and sent me on my way. And I raise my voice for justice, 'cause I believe. the maid.
I do clap along with that song. Liz Wright has such a tremendous voice. I don't have any specific joys and concerns to share with you all today, but I would like to voice a hope, which is that we, all of us together, will find a way to help our broken nation heal. I now invite you to enter names of those you wish to be remembered in the chat box. Don, David, Naomi, Christine Pisani, the homeless, Aunt Eva, Vinnie O'Keefe, Marion, Jeff and Jessica, Nick, Nonina, Louisa and Grandma Barbara, Brian, Lenny, Connie, Rose, David, Daniel, and Kate, JD, Richard Norton, Cindy and Dave, Noreen and Vicky, Genevieve, Lucy, Don and family, Jen, David, all those fighting for justice, Christine P. and Savin, Teresa, Janet. My thoughts are with Christine Pisani, Samuel, Aki, the brave pollsters and vote counters, Carrie, Georgia, Pierce, Eric, Jane. For all of these names said aloud, and all those that remain silent on the tablets of our heart, I pray. Amen. Our second reading today is A Lifelong Sharing by Mother Teresa. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others. Our split plate for this month is the Unitarian Universalist Association office at the United Nations. The UUUNO is a non-governmental organization in association with the United Nations Department of Global Communications and in consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. The UUA office at the UN represents the UUA and the Canadian Unitarian Council at the United Nations, where we promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, as reflected in the United Nations Charter. Through targeted education, advocacy, and outreach, we engage Unitarian Universalists in support of international cooperation and the work of the UN. You can send a check to the office or donate through the website as seen on your screen. You can also donate through the Give Plus Church app, which can be found in the App Store or Google Play. Please give as generously as you are able, and thank you.
Oh, we have found a lovely dawn in this valley blooming, whose blossom shoot and promise fruit, that beautiful
Beloveds, let us pray. It's the Invocation of Spirit by Alice Jensen. Spirit of life and love, holy God, source eternal, in our midst yet still ever so elusive. To breathe your sacred name is a blessing. Your world become. Your will be done here on earth, inspired by aspirations to do and be better people. May we have all that we need to survive, live, and thrive. Remind us to be gentle. May we love mercy and kindness, recalling the times when we've fallen short ourselves. Call us to be firm. May we not be tempted to follow selfish motivations or reside in our own narrow privileges, unexamined and uninterrogated. Move us to counter and overcome evil and injustice in ourselves, our lives, and our institutions. Yours is the beloved community, the fire of commitment in our hearts, and the spirit of generosity and an abundance, now and always. Amen. Beloved, it is such an honor to be with you today. And I just want to say thank you for saying yes to wake up early and to get on the screens, but also to open yourselves up to the spirit of love in this moment. I would be remiss if I did not do a couple of things before I start. One, I just want to honor the land that I am coming to you from. I am on Cree territory here in outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and East Point, Georgia. And just want to acknowledge our Native brothers and sisters, our siblings who continue to fight for sovereignty. They are still here, and may your sovereignty come soon. May we also respect the land and the people whose hands has toiled this earth, not just within the US, but also abroad. Colonialism was everywhere. Slavery continued to bind Black and brown bodies for capitalism and for gain. And may we never forget those stories, but also the way folks survived. Secondly, I want to thank my family, the folks who continue to be beautiful witnesses to my ministry. And if you can imagine a toddler like who is like in a store and they want that one piece of candy, but their parent knows that they've made a cake for them at home and it's their favorite cake, and that toddler is screaming and fighting, saying, "No, but I want this candy," and the parent pulls them out. My family, my chosen family and loving family, they are that parent that continues to pull me out, knowing that my ministry and doing this work of service has a greater good. So even when I'm fighting and kicking, screaming, just like this morning, I just want to thank them for always saying, "You can do this. We love you," and that there's an interdependence that we have in this work in itself. So thank y'all, and thank you, Mommy and Auntie Charlene. Beloveds, we are here, and I told Mary Beth, who invited me here, and also I mentioned to Jim that I will only speak for 10 to 12 minutes. And I'm a Southerner, so I'm going to try to keep to that. And if I'm not, Nikki, you can wave your hand when it gets too long so that we can stay focused. So today, I wanted to talk with us around this concept and this idea of choosing love over and over again. Rightfully so, I'm the Side with Love campaign manager, but also there's just a part of me that continues to bubble with love. I am that friend that makes it very awkward every time you hang up the phone. "Hey, I love you," and wait for a response. And even if you don't, I love you anyway. I still love you. I am that person that will call folks beloved and still hold them very dear. But also I'm that person that will also challenge from a place of compassion and grace, knowing that we are interdependent, and that together we can create the world that we envision where we all thrive. When I was preparing for speaking with y'all post this decade that's been put into 1 year of 2020, I was really thinking about what would rest on the ears of folks. And I really had to turn the conversation back to myself. What would rest on the ears and the heart of myself in the midst of all that is going on? And I ran across this invocation to the spirit of life, which was the alternative Lord's Prayer by Alex Jensen that I read before. Again, I'm a Southern, also I'm a preacher's kid, so just as a disclaimer. And I have a little one. And I grew up reading and reciting the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer found in Matthew or Luke, according on which interpretation you would like, that goes like, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, and we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen. In my home now with my son, we also recite the Lord's Prayer. And I was struck by this invocation to the Spirit of life, the alternative Lord's Prayer, thinking about how within the values, the principles, and the sources of the Unitarian Universalism, the expansiveness of what did it mean to be a part of this faith, the expansiveness of understanding that God is more than just a Christological understanding, and that the principles and the ways we're supposed to move in this world should also be expansive. And so I want to look at this invocation to the Spirit of life and think about that in the context of this eighth principle. Also in the context of our longing to widen this circle of embrace, to be our values in this world, but most importantly, to actually love everyone with their inherent dignity and worth. So the invocation goes again, the Spirit of life and love, holy God, source eternal, in our midst, yet still ever so elusive. That opening telling us that even in the midst of everything that's happening, there's a spirit that rests upon us. Even when we might not know the election results, even when we may not know, if we will be healed, there's a spirit that rests. And with that rest, we also can lean into this understanding that we have choice, that we have an opportunity to look out into the world anew. And then it goes to breathe your sacred name is a blessing. Oh, this sharing of breath, breathing a blessing, but it also allows us to breathe out a blessing upon other folks. This understanding of reciprocity as we move through life, there's been a blessing. Your world become the blessing of sacredness as this world becomes as it is. Your will be done here on earth, inspired by our aspirations to do and be better people. I got stuck right there because these aspirations to be better and to do better, it is practice that we also have to put in place. And when I think about this phrase of to do better and to be better, our aspirations, it makes me think about how doing better and be better aligns with hospitality and inclusion. For us to live into this prayer that aligns with our faith, we also have to interrogate how we look at hospitality, interrogate how we include or not include folks who want to be with us, those who are searching for places to belong, those who are searching not just to belong, but also to help to create the home, to share parts of their essence, to share parts of themselves, and to receive from the other person. It is sometimes seen as hospitality as me being the actor and doing all things and actually filling into someone else. But the reality is hospitality is a shared practice. It is something where once you open your home, how do you allow yourselves to be changed by and changed with the loving visitor? To be included into the making of what can be in that moment. To be included into the conversations that should push you beyond your edges just enough so you can be porous enough to let more in and porous enough to let things out so that we can actually co-create this world become. This is not a static experiment. It continues to move. The next line goes, remind us to be gentle. May we love mercy and kindness, recalling the times when we've fallen short ourselves. That level of compassion that we so often, let me use I statements, that I so often is able to give out to other people for their misgivings, for their mess ups, for their lack of understanding, that I forget to wash over myself when I do things because I did not know, or that it's a learning curve, or maybe I was just in the wrong spirit at the wrong time. My emotions were doing the things they do. But that spirit of compassion allows us to be gentle with ourselves and also to lean into mercy and the kindness. Beloveds, this is what our values as Unitarian Universalists are asking us. How do we live into our values if not from a place of mercy and kindness? And recall at times when we're falling short ourselves, again, to open ourselves, to be vulnerable in the midst of how we've learned and how we've come to be. To be vulnerable and open in this place of we want to widen our faith and widen ourselves. The next line, call us to be firm. May we not be tempted to follow selfish motivations or reside in our narrow privileges, unexamined and uninterrogated. Move us to counter and overcome evil and injustice in ourselves, our lives, and institutions. Well, I've been at the UUA, the Unitarian Universalist Association, now for almost 2 years. One thing I'm clear about, UUs will argue. We will discuss. Oh, we will challenge. That y'all have it down. Trust me, 2-3 hour meetings and we still don't resolve things, but I digress. I'm gonna focus. But how do we also allow us to be firm? Beloved, it's this 8th principle that we're discussing, but actually this idea of widening the circle of living into our values or risk-taking in this moment is what this kind of speaks to. We can be firm, but also may our firmness be on the side of love. May our firmness be on the side of justice. May our firmness be on the side of no one would be left out. May our firmness be on the side of how do we allow ourselves to change in this ever-changing world? See, the way I understand our faith is that it is still speaking to us. to use a phrase from the United Church of Christ, it is still relevant. It has to shift, and so do we. May we be firm at the shifting tides. May we be firm at what change requires us to do. May we be firm when we see and understand the pain of our brothers and sisters who are screaming, and siblings who are screaming and saying that I am not seen or felt or welcomed in this faith. Change what we're doing. May it be seen and heard and understood when we are advocating for folks who are seeking sanctuary, when children are in cages. And once they're out those cages, may we continue to fight for them to have full justice and to have whole lives. May we take the risk into opening up our homes and our sanctuaries, our buildings in a way that doesn't control, but allows self-determination for those that we are willing to help. May we also understand that we have to take risks, risking, but also that means being vulnerable to say, I don't know it all, and that I can't research it all. I have to experiment, to be in practice. I have to take a risk to mess up. I have to take a risk to fail miserably. As Brene Brown often says, how do we dare greatly? It takes a lot of risk taking. And I'm not saying that we take these risks unaccountable or even alone, but we join a great group of other folks who are taking the risk to open themselves, to say, I continue to hold on to practices of patriarchy, or I continue to mess up on pronouns and I don't know what to do. How can you help me? You have to take that risk, and to not slip into shame, but to slip into compassion and mercy. The last phrase, yours is the beloved community, the fire of commitment in our hearts, and the spirit of generosity and the abundance now and always. Oh, this piece of yours, the beloved community, the fire of commitment in our hearts, the spirit of generosity and abundance, really leads me into this place of restoration and reparations. When we know that our faith is a beloved community, the community can actually interrogate itself because it is beloved. It is held in a cradle. It is held in a way with care. It is held from a place of transparency. And the fire of our commitment in our hearts should be that fire that continues to want us to do justice, to be justice, to be in right relationship with each other, to repair the harms of the past, not saying that it happened now, but to acknowledge the systematic as well as the long-term view, the trajectory of pain, and how we have an opportunity to disrupt this moment. That we, in all of our livelihoods, have the opportunity to correct some wrongs, to restore the balance, to look at things in a different way. I got you, Nikki. And that the reparations is not just a place of money, but reparations is also a call of spirit, a call of actual justice, a call of actually moving toward, again, widening this greater circle. And as I close, because Nikki done gave me the hand, this invocation to the spirit of life is an invitation for us all to move closer into our values, closer into the person, the people, the faith that we so desperately want to be, but also the people that this world so desperately needs. It's more than just showing up in your yellow shirts with side with love or phone banking or just saying this is our faith. It is a practice. It's a practice with love and humility, compassion and grace, from risk taking, but most importantly, you're never alone. Thank you, beloveds.
Thank you so much, Everett. That was really amazing. Can we get the Bewley-Newmar family up on the screen for the extinguishing of the chalice? As I read these words, fitted for this day, by Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. We are the ones we have been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to chart that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you will join us for the coffee hour. The link has been posted and Everett will be joining us for the first part of the coffee hour. Take care. Go in peace.